Hey everybody, I'm here to talk to you today about Chapter 8 of Up From Slavery. It's the autobiography written by Booker T. Washington. Chapter 8 is called Teaching School in a Stable and in a Hen House. So in Chapter 7, I told you that Booker T. Washington had spent a month or so traveling around, month or two traveling around Tuskegee, living with the different families and just kind of get a feel of what he would be faced with as he tried to open this or teach his school or start this school in Tuskegee. He says after his time of traveling around, he was kind of depressed at the condition and at the state, and that the things that he felt like they would need to know was just so much. He said in the book, he said the amount of work needed to lift these people was almost beyond accomplishing. He kind of believed that. It was like, wow, can't believe this. So he came away with the fact, he came away with the idea that just giving these kids, these people, a book knowledge, an education of book knowledge would not be enough. Okay, he needed education that was both, it was book knowledge, it was industrious, it was character, it was basic hygiene, all that different things. He says that the people in Tuskegee, both black and white, were eager to have this school started. They thought it was a good idea. A lot of people were. He said that some whites did not feel that it was a good idea for Negroes or blacks, they use the word Negro in the book, blacks to be educated, because that would result in them becoming like, said in the book, like uppity, or not wanting to work in the fields anymore, even though they weren't slaves. A lot of them still were employed by working on the farms and stuff like that. So that would make them not want to do that anymore. Two people that he looked to for knowledge and advice when he first started the school: a white man named Mr. George Campbell and an ex-slave named Mr. Lewis Adams. He says when he started the school, there was about 30 students. They had a couple requirements. They had to be 15 or above, and they had already had to have had some type of education before they came. So basically, his curriculum was take the students back to the basics, start from the ground and go from there. His first co-teacher he had was named Miss Olivia Davidson, and he says she was very instrumental in the beginnings and getting Tuskegee off the ground. Some things they focused on in the beginnings were teaching kids how to bathe, brushing their teeth, washing their clothes, eating properly, setting the table, washing dishes, different types of industry, book knowledge, and some character lessons. So just the basics that, all the different basics and things like that they would need to, run a great life. So at some point, a former plantation came up for sale for $500. So they didn't have the money, but they wanted it. They were eyeing it, and they didn't have the money. So what he did was he basically went back and he asked a man named General J.F.B. Marshall if he could borrow the money. He borrowed like half of it up front. And then he began, with the students, they began building and clearing land. And they basically started building this Tuskegee by hand. Another thing they did was they held festivals in the town, and people donated like cakes. People from the community donated like cakes and different things to the festival. They had like parties, and they sold stuff, and they made money that way. These were both black people and white people who donated to the cause. And this is what helped them to pay back the original loan of $250. And eventually they were able to pay back the whole $500 that they owed for the initial investment in buying the property that they started the Tuskegee University on. So that was Chapter 8 of Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington.